Green Bay is an unbelievably diverse fishery. Whether it's trolling out in the main lake, casting shiver minnows, ton of walleyes throughout this whole system. But one of the things that my good buddy Korey Sprengel and I don't get an opportunity to do a lot, specifically in tournaments, is come up to the De Pere Dam and go after these shallow water walleyes. It's fall time frame, late October, and there might not be a ton of females up here yet, but we should have some really good action, and we get to cast crankbaits. And I think both of us will tell you it's about our favorite technique to catch these things. So come along with us and we'll show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, just looking for the next bite.
Not all good walleye fishing is done off the grid. In fact, sometimes incredible bites are happening right in your own backyard. Such is the case in the late fall for the Green Bay area, thanks to the Fox River in De Pere, Wisconsin.
The river right now is high, the current's rolling, and right behind one of these rock piles there's a nice eddy, and right when we pulled into it I'm like, there's gotta be something in here.
I think this guy's gonna have a little tough time choking down some shad. I think his mouth is quite big enough.
Gonna have a tough time choking down a number 7 flicker shad.
I guess you're right.
While it makes sense that walleyes are moving further upriver to prepare for spawn, typically in the late portion of fall, a glimpse into what you can expect of areas and structure to explore can quickly help simplify a bite.
It's absolutely no secret that this is the time of year where a lot of walleyes start moving up the Fox River and come all the way up to the dam. And one of the things about this dam area is it can be kind of intimidating when you're trying to figure out where should I fish it, where they're running water from the dam, you know, if they got current seams. And then also what I'm gonna do is basically cast cranks all over this structure. Even though it's a large area, you can cover water very quickly. Just get on your bow mount, cruise around, try to find high spots, try to find little channels in the rocks, different areas that might hold fish. And then what I'm gonna do is basically look for the first piece of the puzzle. I'm looking for that first bite. And it might be in a very high spot. It might be a foot of water where there's really sharp rocks, big boulders. But what I'm gonna do then, when I get that bite, is I'm gonna hit anchor mode. And it does not matter then what condition you're dealing with. The wind can be blowing against the current, with the current. It's gonna keep you exactly where you just caught that fish. And many times there's not just one fish sitting behind those rocks or in that channel. Wherever you got that bite, there might be 4, 5, 6 fish. So it's very important to look at the little nuances throughout a piece of structure like this. Even though you can catch fish all over this structure, you can catch fish a lot quicker by focusing on those little key pieces of structure. There you go, man. There we go.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. The cool thing is we just got over, we kind of moved around a little bit. It's an area, there's just some slack water up here. We've been staring at it forever, and it's like...
I don't know how long we talked about it before. It's finally like, let's just do it.
Yeah, it looked like it might be a little bit shallow to get here, but it didn't take too long to catch one. Just a few casts. That's a nice fish right there. See if we can't get something bigger, but feels good to catch them casting cranks. It's so much fun.
It's so much fun to just feel that rod load up. Bang, bang, bang on rocks. All of a sudden takes a rod out of your hand.
And then the current too. I mean, the thing was just coming back so fast that you're just, and it's in the boat right away. So here we go. He's ready.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish. And Motor Guide, accuracy matters. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by PowerPole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors. In addition to extremely fast-paced fights due to the shallow water, besides adapting to the current,
Good one, Korey?
Yeah, it's a pretty good one here.
Chase and Korey are also finding these walleyes wanting something very unexpected.
I think we had a mistake there. The net was in the back of the boat.
It
You're
hit.
like, Chase, Chase, Chase. And I'm like, oh, he's right there.
It literally hit right under the bow mount.
I'm going to let you get that flicker shad hook in your hand here, taking him off. Chunky one, huh?
Yeah, there's definitely no shortage of
Oh,
food.
the shad up here. You need the pliers?
Yeah, you better grab the
I
pliers.
think you got it pretty good. Here you go, man.
Yeah, he wasn't coming off too good.
He's hooked good, but is this your first time ever using a pliers or what?
He wasn't coming off. Come on.
There we go.
go.
Not the longest fish, but they're eating well up here.
There's plenty of food going around for these fish to eat. I mean, they came up here and they're just putting on the feed bag.
Casting these cranks, you just love when your like the line just goes slack. They just
Yep, it's like rock, 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 bang. All of a sudden, holy cow.
get that one back.
All right.
There's some bigger ones up here, man. You know, choosing the correct color of crankbaits is always so important, whether you're casting them like we are or whether you're trolling them. And this is a situation that's pretty peculiar. And what I mean by that is I fish up by this dam quite often in the spring and in the fall, and I have never seen this amount of bait up here. It's unbelievable how much shad's up here. And typically in situations like that, I'll always think to myself that there's so much bait, so much natural bait for these fish to eat, that I want to be throwing something that's gaudy, something that's very flashy, something that looks different than these thousands or millions of bait fish that are available to these fish. So what we did is we came up here and started throwing a bunch of different colors. And the thing is, we've had conditions where there's been sun and also clouds. So that's always something that can throw a different change into things. But we found very quickly, and it was a surprise to me, that you wanted to stay relatively natural in your color choices, even with this much bait. So what we've done is some of these baits with a lot of white to the sides and the bellies, like a purple pearl here, like a mouse, the pearl white color flicker shad. And then this color, it's electric perch, but it's got a lot of white to the belly and looks very natural, very similar to a lot of the bait fish that are gonna be in a system like this have been the go-to colors. When you go to a system, something that I've really thought that when there's a lot of bait, I'm gonna throw crazy colors, we've learned very quickly that you need to be experimental in your color choices and try everything available. And even though there's a lot of natural bait for these fish to eat, these natural colored crankbaits are working the best. Korey, fish. I can't tell how big it is. It's way out there. Oh, it feels pretty good.
That's a good one, Chase.
Yeah, it is. Oh, stay on, stay on. Yeah! That's what you're looking for. Oh, he's off in the net. Look at that thing.
Look at that pig.
Oh, look at that. Look at that
thing is
fish.
a tank.
I mean, you know, Green Bay, we catch longer ones than this, but casting crankbaits, look at the girth on this thing.
It is fat. I don't care where you go, man. That is a fat fish.
It hit so far out there, like it felt heavy, but then it's blowing right back with the current, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, but as soon as both of us saw it, I think we got pretty excited on that one.
It was barely hooked and off in the net.
We'll get this one back, and wow, is this fun.
It is so fun catching them casting.
There you go. Well, but it's, oh, it was ready.
Sight bites, real real-time fishing information from all the pros in one place at walleyechatter.com.
In a lot of lakes that we fish, the walleyes are right in the weeds. They'll swim right into the weed masses. And they're fun to fish. If you got a lake like that, if you can find a lake that has fish like that, they're a blast to fish because they're up shallow, they bite hard. Normally the fish are bigger than other areas of the lake. You usually get some pretty good sized walleyes out of a situation like that. The equipment's pretty simple too. I like to use a 16th ounce jig, put either a real leech or a leech tail on. Leech tails to me are more effective because they don't tear off all the time, and the fish seem to like them an awful lot. But one of the other pieces of equipment that are just as important as your rod and your line are your sunglasses. If you don't have a good pair of polarized sunglasses, you're not going to be able to do this very effectively, because the walleyes like to live in the holes in the weeds. They're not in those tight weed bunches. So you have to kind of scope out and say, okay, there's a hole, and you pitch your jig right into that area. It's imperative that you see that ahead of time. So the sunglasses, like I said, are really important. You know, these aren't $300 sunglasses, and I used to have sunglasses like that, but every time I made that investment, I'd lose them. And, you know, pretty depressing. I think we've all been in that boat. If you've spent money like that on sunglasses, they might last a little longer than normal because you've spent that much money, but to tell the truth, sooner or later, you're going to either sit on them or you're going to lose them, and then you're going to be disappointed. That's why I like the Strike King S11 sunglasses like I have on right now. They're a very moderate priced sunglass, but they give me the same attributes as the expensive pairs. It's got a hydrophobic layer, so if it's raining or if I'm running rough water, the water peels off. I can see the weeds in a situation like this easy. I can see my fish deep down when it comes time to net them. So remember, weed walleyes are awesome. They're fun to fish. But you've got to have the right equipment, and your sunglasses are one of the most important pieces.
As professional tournament anglers, both Chase Parsons and Korey Sprengel are constantly considering their situation and how to improve upon it. It's just part of their competitive nature.
Little guy. It's just so crazy fighting these things in this high current. Yeah, he's a fat one though. Look at that.
It's almost like if you don't get them when they're coming to the boat, when we're casting upstream, it's like once they go downstream, they pull so hard.
Yeah.
These Fox River walleyes may be preferring natural colors for their cranks, even amongst the plethora of bait fish present.
Well, that looks like a pretty good one, man.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
But there are other clever ways to get your lure to stand out in a crowd.
Oh, he's off.
He's off.
Just a football.
Little pig.
When you set the hook, I thought you had about an 8-pounder on it.
It felt way bigger. He throttled it pretty hard. But I mean, every fish feels a little bit heavier in current, but it takes you a little bit to understand how big they really are. But you know, just an awesome, healthy fish.
What we're doing here today is casting crankbaits up by the dam. And one of the biggest keys for us in getting bites has actually been the direction that we're casting. We've really noticed that casting upstream and bringing our baits back down has made a big difference in how we've been getting most of our bites. And the reason why I think this is really important is because there's a lot of bait fish up here, there's a lot of gizzard shad, you know, pretty much everywhere. And so these fish have an abundance of food. So casting it upstream, bringing it back down is almost getting a reactionary bite. It's not allowing those fish to see the bait very long before they need to decide whether they're going to eat it or not. So it's just one of those small keys that has made a big difference for us today in catching more fish.
Right under the boat.
Yep. There we go. Oh, man.
Right under the boat.
Oh, he's off, too. Yeah. We're both standing up in front, and you're like, I look at your line, and I'm like, holy cow, it's right there. I thought you were going to get it caught I thought you were going to get the big bite. Yeah, the trolling motor bite.
It almost did. I had to bring it around basically underneath the trolling motor, but
man, that thing's healthy.
These fish are
just crushing these shad up.
Look at how little the head is compared to the body. I mean, these fish are they're putting the feed bag on for fall, that's for sure.
He came up too, and then I went for the net, and he went down. Luckily, the net was underneath, and it was dark enough water you couldn't see him. But let's get that one back, huh?
Let's get another one. There she goes.
What we have up here at the Pier Dam is a lot of shallow rock. And I'm talking depths in that 1 to 3 foot of water range. The bait we actually chose is a number 7 flicker shad. And in most situations, that number 7 size is a little bit too deep of diving for 1 to 3 foot of water. What we're trying to achieve today is make long casts and get our baits to hit bottom almost immediately, because they're returning to the boat so fast with that high current that is up here at the dam. So that number 7 size dives down almost immediately, making us fish a lot more efficiently. And this number 7 size also matches that shad size that is everywhere up here almost perfectly. And what we're using it on is a 10-pound fire line, a no stretch line, which is very key up here in the snaggy situations. It's very snaggy with all these rocks. That no stretch line allows us to feel when we're hitting bottom. And usually when I hit bottom, I start reeling a lot slower, bringing that bait back just with the current. So that no stretch line allows me to feel exactly what that bait is doing down there.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Mustad. Stay sharper longer. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Motor Guide. Accuracy matters. Strike King. Legacy of domination for 50 years. And Power Pole. Swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
Hi everybody, I'll tell you what, I've been a guide up on the Bay of Green Bay now for over 3 decades. The one thing that I've always prided myself on is putting my customers on the best bite, not only the best bite, the biggest fish that I possibly can. And I want to show you one of my tips, and it's right here. It doesn't get any simpler. It's called Berkeley Gulp. I'm using today a 4-inch gulp minnow, one of my favorite. And let's face it, when you're going after big walleyes, what you're looking for all the time is something very natural, and you're looking for a big bait for those big fish. And a lot of times when we buy these minnows, when we go out and buy minnows, we're always sorting through the live well or the bait well, looking for the biggest minnows in there. When you get gulp, you always have the perfect size. You got a 3-inch, a 4-inch, and today what I'm going to show you is the 4-inch chartreuse shiner. This is one of my favorite colors. What you're going to want to do with this is just a nice cast out, let it sink down to the bottom, and you're going to get 2 types of bites with this. One is what I like to refer to as a presence bite. So as you actually go to snap the rod up off the bottom, you're going to feel resistance. When you feel that resistance, that's actually a bite. What's happening is that fish is pinned to the bottom, he's tailed up on it. You want to be setting the hook at that point. The other thing is you're waiting for that jig to descend back down to the bottom. You're going to see your line jump, and more times than not, you're going to feel a tick. That's actually that gulp minnow bouncing off the inside of the fish's mouth. You want to make sure that you're setting the hook. Now, gulp minnows come in a lot of different colors, and like I said, when we're going out and chasing these big walleyes, we want to use what best represents that forage base the best we can. Gulp minnows is where it's at. And the one time that I kind of deviate from it being natural looking is when I pick out these bright colors, like I said, like the chartreuse shad like this, or the pink shine, or the fire tiger, because I want those fish to be able to see that bait a long ways off. And I'll tell you what, you will catch more fish. Gulp minnows are like Jello to a walleye, and as my mother always said, there's always room for Jello.
Chase and Corey may be focusing on a small area near the dam on the Fox River.
Feels good to catch them casting cranks. It's so much fun.
But casting larger size shad profile cranks upstream to stand out, while donning natural color schemes to match the huge population of gizzard shad that's present, is paying off big for late fall shallow water walleyes.
Green Bay, we catch longer ones than this, but casting crankbaits, look at the girth on this thing.
However, properly working these larger lures back in the shallow water is very important to triggering bites.
In these high current situations, what I like to do is my first 5 or 6 cranks on the reel handle are very fast. What I want to do is get that bait to dive down and bang bottom almost immediately. And as soon as that bait hits bottom, I immediately slow down and almost let the current do the work, bring it right back to the boat, but making sure it's ticking bottom the whole time. But often throughout the day, hour by hour, and especially day by day, this is going
to change. I like to change up my cadences. A lot of times I'll cast it out there, let it bang bottom, and I'll often pause it. I'll let it come back to the boat, ticking bottom, and also pause it and just let that current bring the bait to the boat. And there's times when burning the bait to the boat very fast can trigger strikes. So it's one of those things that you want to play with day by day, and especially hour by hour, to change up and see what the fish really want and let them tell you how you should cast. Chase!
Here, let me get over there. Oh, it looks like a pretty good one, man.
Here comes Chase.
Oh, look how fat that thing is. That's a nice one.
Look at how fat that fish is.
Oh, man.
This fish is a chunk.
Man.
Look at the size of that chunk right there.
Got some weight to it.
Man, it's just so fun casting crankbaits.
I can tell. I don't know if it hit and missed or if you just crushed a rock at first.
I think that's what it was.
Because I heard you go, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's one.
I think it's exactly what it was. I crushed that rock. I thought it was a bite and actually paused it, and the fish just cracked it there. But that is a healthy fish. I mean, they're just absolutely putting the feed bag on. Get this girl back.
Maybe in about 3-4 years, that's what you'll look like too.
Get this beauty back. How does it feel?
Feels about as big as your shoe. About as big as your shoe. I don't even know where that came from. Let's do some measurement. Put your foot down. Pretty darn close. What do you got there?
It's getting bigger.
Amateur hour. Amateur hour. The Bay of Green Bay is such a... Okay.
Well, I didn't know we were shooting the open.
You didn't?
No.
What? Hey, Sprengel, want a cookie?
Yeah.
Too bad.
Well, you didn't know we were shooting the opening either?
Well, now I do.
Oh, got mine.
I gotta take a rest now.